again for a full list of my NFL picks, or sorry, for my CFL picks. Three Down Nation. We have the best bets piece that is up. For those of you who are hanging out live right now, going to throw that in the chat. So those are the best bets for the CFL week this week. So not going to go like point spread wise or anything like that. And again, trying to limit the old gambling talk on the old Twitch. But for podcast listeners, there will be a today's tick at the end for an exclusive one there. But let's run through. Tonight, it is Winnipeg taking on Edmonton. This game is back in Winnipeg after it was the Bombers beating the Elks in Edmonton last week. And I struggle to see how Edmonton is going to fare better in Winnipeg. It doesn't get easier to play in Winnipeg as the season goes on. So I think that there is a real confidence that Winnipeg is going to be able to do this thing. And then looking at this, you knew Winnipeg was on fire, right? Like figuratively. You knew that the Bombers were playing some very good football right now, or at least winning some very important games. But they put up a graphic the other day. Was it them or was it the CFL? Shoot, I think I went to the wrong spot. But they have, like, on this 6-game winning streak that they're on right now, one of the wins was against Hamilton, which doesn't mean shit. But they have 2 wins against BC, 2 wins against Saskatchewan, and if they win today, it'll be 2 wins against Edmonton in a 7-game winning streak. So not only are they winning games, but they are winning season series and just putting, like, every team that is even considering being in a playoff spot right now in the West, they are running through and winning with relative ease. They had to battle against Saskatchewan in both of those games. But still, they are winning those games very impactfully. And so to be able to sweep the team that's in second place, sweep the team that's in third place, and potentially sweep the team that's in fourth place, quite impressive in a 7-game win streak. And Winnipeg, I don't know what is holding me back from fully giving them their flowers this year, but I am on the Bombers this week. BC taking on Hamilton. One thing that's really intriguing about this game is that both defenses have actually started to play pretty well. I did a mini deep dive in that article that I posted there from 3 Down about how well BC's defense has played since Matthew Betts has come back. They would be, by points, they would be, I think, the second or third best defense in the league if that point total over the last little bit played out. And like passing-wise, the most passing yards they've allowed in a game is 268 in the last 3 games. Like, they are playing very, very well defensively. And so I think that they're going to be able to somewhat limit a pretty high-powered offense out in Hamilton right now. And now on the other side, the Ticats defense is playing pretty well. They bottled up Chad Kelly again last week and gave up 30 points, but still only allowed, it was at least under 300 passing yards in that game. So I think certainly something to look for is how well these two teams play defensively in this spot, even though both offenses certainly have a lot of players that you would want to highlight. Ottawa taking on Saskatchewan. Like I said, there's a breakdown on for 3 Down Nation. Also, you can see behind me the Ryder jersey and the Ryder Rey Mysterio mask. Shout out, no copyright laws in Mexico. But I taped the Ryder Happy Hour podcast, came out yesterday, so there's a little bit more in-depth on that game. But I do think that right now, Ottawa is struggling both offensively and defensively. Offensively, they're struggling to put up points. It's 21 or under in 3 of their last 4, and 12 points in 2 of their last 4. And defensively, basically every starting linebacker for that team is hurt, and they are giving up a whole lot of rushing yards to teams that when teams run the ball. Montreal just doesn't. And so I think when you look at the Armstead factor in all of this, when you look at the struggles that Ottawa is having in protecting the football and all of that, I think that there is a really good job, or a real good opportunity here for Saskatchewan to make it 2 wins in a row. Who would have thought? And lastly, Montreal against Toronto. Very interesting matchup because Montreal, I said like, oh, they're back on track. And then you watch that game, it's like, well, are they? Like, defensively, they played great. But offensively, it's not clicking in the way that it was before. And, like, no Philpott is going to do that. But I think as Fajardo kind of, again, reacclimates himself to this offense after getting hurt and figures out, like, okay, I can do this with Rambo, I can do this with Reggie White Jr., I can do this with Janarian Grant. I can kind of bounce these guys around and do it all kind of this way. I think that's going to get a little bit better. And Toronto, defensively, they've kind of been gashed up quite a bit lately. And so I think they have some issues. They do defend the run pretty well, but I have it in my thing. Montreal doesn't run at all. Like, Walter Fletcher has fewer carries than AJ Ouellette, and AJ Ouellette has played once since Joe Biden stepped down. He's barely played at all. The two are not correlated. I would, just from what I believe, I think AJ Ouellette might feel the opposite about it. You know what I mean? Anyway, this is not a team that runs the ball a lot. And so Toronto's one strength, Montreal kind of goes away from. So I do think Montreal gets the road win. Also, they're undefeated on the road. So there is your CFL talk for the week.